As AI-generated films continue to emerge, AI film festivals are now being held around the world. Most recently, Seoul hosted its own AI film festival. Today, we'll explore how AI is transforming the filmmaking process and what these changes could mean for the future of cinema. For that, we're joined by Jae Soh, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. So welcome back, Professor Soh.
Hello, Professor.
Nice to be here.
So really, it looks like AI seems to be conquering all kinds of fields. I mean, we just earlier had our AI anchor Arirang and also a short film, an AI short film just before our segment. And now we're talking about AI film festivals. And one was held in Seoul just recently. It's the World AI Film Festival, Seoul 2026. I don't know if in short we could call it WAIFF, WAIFF. But tell us more about this event and what's unique about it?
Yeah, this festival was founded in Nice, France, and basically it's traveled around the world and finally it's come to Korea. Of course, Korea being the hub for technology and K-pop. And so the World AI Film Festival, WAIFF, basically held it last week at the Lotte Concert Hall. And it showcased how artificial intelligence now is all part of the filmmaking process. And basically, we've had something like over 2,000 submissions of works. And basically, the film festival is a sort of a celebration of AI in terms of not replacing humans, but using or assisting as a tool. And so it's kind of a, there are a lot of booms now with different AI film festivals, but I think this is one of the bigger ones that has happened. And so far, it's generated a lot of hype. The government, of course, really interested in AI was also present at the festival. And it was the final day was sort of they had a conference about AI in filmmaking, and so it brought together just regular audiences, people interested in AI, tech companies. So it was a pretty, colorful event, especially with AI on the rise right now. Yeah.
Right, and how are these AI films being evaluated? I mean, what is sort of the criteria for this?
Yeah, I was really curious about that too, would an AI film festival have AI as the judge? But no, they actually had human judges. And basically, the way this festival has made the criteria is how AI technology was used. So it's got the regular sort of festival guidelines like other ones where they talk about how the film was, completed, if the story was really good. So you have all that criterion, but again, you have to use AI. And the rules are you have to use at least 3 types of AI, with one of the AI being, a visual image generating AI to be, included in that. So there's actually 6 categories ranging from traditional short films to micro series and also things designed for the vertical mobile screen and commercials for fictitious products. So basically, there have been a lot of films, it's sort of more short format, but I want to introduce to you the grand prize winner. It's a short film called Known and Unknown. It's about 7 minutes. Director is Kim Yoon-kyung. And basically, it's an AI short film that explores human choice and complicity through the silence and hidden desires of a village surrounding a mysterious door. And I saw clips of it, and it's an animation. And it had kind of a paper mache type of texture to it, so I thought that was really interesting. And another film that was kind of standoutish here was it won the I guess one of the excellent film categories. And in this one, it's by Im Dae-young. It's called Losing, and it's about a mother who has an emotional sort of tension from losing a loved one. And this had live action with sort of surrealistic imagery, and I found it to be kind of very poetic, and the colors and everything was very fantastic. And my favorite one was the award-winning Encouragement Award was presented to this movie called The Dog, the Octopus, and Me. And it's a film that depicts the unusual coexistence between a human, a dog, and an octopus that was about to be cooked. So it's kind of humorous, and it's almost like an animation you would expect, AI to be generating. So that's the one I really like the most.
Sounds very creative.
I mean, I wouldn't expect AI to be in dramas. I thought it would be all sci-fi, all those action movies, but to be in dramas is quite fascinating.
Dramas,
Right.
action movies,
Yeah.
comedies. It's starting to really branch out. Yeah, for sure.
And Professor Soh, you mentioned something very interesting before. You said the judges were all humans, but do you think that sometime in the future AI could actually become the judges of these AI films?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of, if you think of an AI film festival, you think you're talking to a machine. Sort of like in baseball now, they use the ABS system to call strikes and balls. But I think, you could do that for sports, but I think for art or filmmaking, it's impossible. So, I mean, an AI judge could maybe talk about sort of the trend or like basically, use the algorithm to try to figure out if this is like commercially viable or things like that. But I think you still need human judges to sort of really see if it's artistically, up to spec, and also having sort of a human touch to it is still really important. So this year, the head of the jury is this gentleman named Song Sang-hyun, who's the CEO of Westworld, which is one of the biggest, VFX CG companies in Korea. And there's a gentleman named Nelson Shin, who's an animation director. And then one of the highlights here was director Jang Han-jun from King's Warden, which is like a huge hit in Korea. He was one of the judges. So, and I wanted to also mention an honorary judge was Gong Li, the famous Chinese actress. So yeah, it was human judges, and their criteria is basically like how AI was used to enhance basically filmmaking. That was sort of like their criterion.
Right.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. And these days, we're seeing more cases where people without formal film training create the AI and even win awards. I mean, you see it on social media and now you see it within movies. It seems to almost be very easy to do. Some are even talking about the rise of multi-career AI film directors. How do you see this trend exactly?
Well, I mean, it's definitely brought filmmaking into a kind of more democracy. I think before, it was a very high bar. You have to go to film school or learn the trades, learn how the technical parts of it works. But now I think with these tools, you're able to sort of do something without using a camera even. So it does kind of bring up the sort of accessibility of filmmaking techniques to a new level so that it's much more accessible for a lot of people. So I think that's what's interesting. But at the same time, I think, what's more interesting is that, as you mentioned, the multi-career track, which is I would imagine somebody who's a computer programmer that decides like, I'm going to make an AI film, and suddenly, he has one, or sort of a musician or a sound designer suddenly doing this stuff. So we're bringing more kind of different disciplines into the process of making this film. But at the same time, I teach filmmaking. That's my profession. So I don't think I'm worried about, in competition with AI, because after, I think for a while, I think, everybody's going to be excited about this technology, but there may be a point in the future where people want to see movies that was made by hand, analog. I have students now even shooting on film, celluloid, because they're kind of attracted to sort of like the process of analog. So I think it's a trend. I think human beings need human warmth, and I think we'll see how AI sort of fits into all this for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I also see people trending back to also film as in photography as well. So that vintage, well, it's weird to say vintage when it's really not that old, is probably going to come back eventually, but we'll have to wait and see. But with AI film festivals expanding both in scale and also participation, way larger than I thought it would be, what kind of changes do you think this trend signals for the film industry exactly?
I think the film industry is already using AI in many ways, but I think there's going to be sort of a rise in hybrid filmmaking. So it's basically more sort of like, as I was talking about before, people not in the film industry sort of partaking in that. And I remember there was a famous director, Francis Ford Coppola, who directed The Godfather. In the end of a documentary that his wife was making, he said something about when digital technology was coming out and everybody was using phones. He said, there's going to be some girl in Ohio that's going to make this amazing film. And I think now with this, there's going to be some unknown person that will actually be able to show something that nobody's ever thought of. So I think the industry has a way of absorbing innovation And so I think AI is something, just as much as like, I was talking about analog before, and at a certain point, everybody's doing digital. And, I was one of the professors that said, hey, we should embrace digital. And I remember my film students didn't like me for a while because they all wanted to make movies with film. But I said, we can't hide from this, and this is going to be, a digital thing. And now my students today, they don't even think about it, so it became sort of the norm after a while. So I think, hopefully that's what's going to happen with AI as well.
Professor Soh, if you were to incorporate AI into your filmmaking process, how would you use it?
I'm already doing it. Basically, I use it mostly in the pre-production part of it. So, right now I'm writing 2 scripts. One of them is a horror film. And I'm using AI basically to come up with a concept art for it, storyboarding, and also I'm going to develop a trailer based on sort of the images that I kind of work with AI for it. And so, in a way, when I go to an investor or to a production company to pitch my idea, before it was just them reading, text on paper, but I can actually show them a trailer now, basically showing sort of like what it would be like, and maybe they'll invest in my movie based on that trailer. So it's definitely a kind of a new tool. And what I love about AI is the speed of it. It's done so fast. The things that would have taken weeks is done in basically, hours. So I'm really starting to use it also for film writing as well. I don't use it to ask the guy, the AI machine to actually write the script for me, but I would organize the ideas. It helps me to sort of like incorporate some of the brainstorming things that it does. So it's kind of like a friend, sort of like I guess the ghost writer next to me, making sure that I have every grammatical mistake, fixed.
Right. We're probably going to talk more about AI in the coming months. And yeah, we'll see whether AI could even become its own film category or not. But for now, thank you very much, Professor Soh, for your insights, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
And thank you, Walter, as always. We're going to have you back here next week.
See you next week.